Love has a way of quietly shaping a life, guiding choices long before we realize what truly matters. For George Strait, love was never loud or showy. It was steady, grounding, and deeply personal. It lived in the land he grew up on, the family he protected, and the music he stayed faithful to even when trends changed. While fans saw sold-out arenas and chart-topping hits, George lived a life anchored in commitment rather than spectacle. His journey reminds us that love is not just romance or applause, it is consistency, responsibility, and presence. Through triumph and sorrow, he carried himself with humility, letting his values lead the way. His story is not simply one of success, but of endurance shaped by love, for family, for tradition, and for a craft he treated with reverence rather than ego, ranch roots and early lessons. George Harvey Strait was born on May 18, 1952 in Poteet, Texas, and raised on a large cattle ranch in Big Wells. Life there was demanding but honest, built around early mornings, physical labor, and responsibility. Alongside his brother Buddy, George learned that effort mattered more than excuses. The ranch was not glamorous, but it taught lessons that would follow him everywhere: respect for hard work, self-reliance, and quiet discipline. When his parents divorced during his childhood, stability came from his father, who balanced firm expectations with steady care. Those years shaped George's character more than any stage ever could. Long before music entered the picture, he learned how to endure, how to show up, and how to keep moving forward without complaint, traits that would define him both personally and professionally. A subtle beginning in music. Music did not arrive in George Strait's life with fanfare. It slipped in quietly during his teenage years. More curiosity than ambition at first. He and his brother played in a small band, performing at school events and local gatherings. The music was simple, unpolished, and far from professional, yet something about performing stirred a deeper feeling in George. It offered connection, storytelling, and a sense of belonging beyond the ranch. Still, music remained secondary to responsibility, not yet a dream, but a possibility. What mattered more was the discipline he brought to it, the same steady approach he learned from ranch life. Without chasing attention or trends, George absorbed the idea that songs could hold truth. That belief would later shape a career built on sincerity rather than spectacle. Love, marriage, and commitment. During high school, George met Norma Voss, and their connection was immediate and enduring. Their relationship grew quietly, rooted in trust rather than drama. In 1971, they chose a simple beginning, marrying young and committing to a life together before fame entered the picture. Their partnership would become one of the most enduring in entertainment, not because it was perfect, but because it was protected. Norma remained a steady presence, valuing privacy and family over attention. Together, they built a foundation strong enough to withstand long separations, rising fame, and personal hardship. While many relationships in the public eye fractured under pressure, theirs endured because it was never built for display. It was built for life, shared responsibility, mutual respect, and a deep understanding of what truly mattered: service, distance, and growing purpose. Shortly after marriage, George enlisted in the U.S. Army, serving several years stationed in Hawaii. The experience introduced discipline of a different kind: structure, duty, and time away from home. It was also a season of growth. During this period, George became a father, adding new purpose and weight to his responsibilities. Far from Texas, he learned how to balance obligation with aspiration. Military life reinforced values he already carried: humility, teamwork, and perseverance. Though music was still not a career, it remained present, offering comfort and expression. These years taught George that dreams must coexist with responsibility. He was no longer just chasing personal fulfillment. He was building a future for his family, learning that purpose deepens when others depend on you, discovering his true calling. While serving in Hawaii, George joined an Army-sponsored country band, performing for fellow soldiers. These performances changed everything. For the first time, music felt less like a pastime and more like a calling. Standing before an audience, he discovered the power of songs to connect people through shared emotion and experience. The response was genuine and the feeling undeniable. When his service ended, George returned to Texas with clarity he had never felt before. Music was no longer optional, it was necessary. Still, he approached it cautiously, knowing passion alone was not enough. He carried forward with patience, intent on honoring tradition rather than chasing trends. That clarity would guide him through rejection, doubt, and eventually, remarkable success. Struggle before the breakthrough. Back in Texas, George balanced college, work, and nightly performances with his band, Ace in the Hole. Money was tight, rejection frequent, and progress slow. Trips to Nashville brought disappointment, as industry executives dismissed his traditional sound as outdated. By the late 1970s, doubt crept in. The pressure of supporting a family while chasing an uncertain dream weighed heavily. What sustained him was Norma's quiet belief. She encouraged him not to abandon what felt true. Rather than changing his sound to fit the industry, George chose authenticity over compromise. That decision nearly ended his career before it began, but it also set the stage for everything that followed. His perseverance proved that staying true sometimes requires enduring long silence before recognition arrives. Success, without losing himself. In 1981, George's career finally turned a corner. His debut single found immediate success, introducing a sound that felt familiar yet refreshing. Audiences responded to its honesty, and momentum followed quickly. Fame arrived, but George did not chase it. He kept his circle small, his values intact, and his family protected. As success grew, so did responsibility. He continued recording and touring, but always returned home grounded. Unlike many artists, he resisted reinvention for attention's sake. Instead, he refined what he already did well. That consistency became his signature. Fans trusted him because he never pretended to be anything else. Success did not change who George Strait was. It simply gave more people a chance to hear his voice. A legacy built on authenticity. George Strait's legacy is not defined solely by records sold or awards earned, though both are remarkable. It is defined by consistency, humility, and trust. Over decades, he became a symbol of traditional country music, proving that authenticity still resonates. He never chased trends, scandals, or reinvention. Instead, he showed up, delivered honest music, and respected his audience. That respect was returned many times over. Generations found comfort and familiarity in his voice because it never pretended. His influence reaches beyond charts into values, showing that integrity can last longer than hype. In an industry often built on noise, George Strait's quiet steadiness became his greatest strength. Giving back with purpose. Success never distanced George from responsibility. He and his family chose to give back in meaningful ways, supporting causes focused on children and community. These efforts were not publicized for attention, but pursued with intention. Giving became another way to honor love, family, and memory. It reflected the values learned on the ranch: help where you can, without expectation. Through philanthropy, George turned personal experience into support for others, ensuring that compassion extended beyond his own life. This side of his legacy is quieter than sold-out shows, but no less powerful. It demonstrates that impact is not only about what you create, but about how you care for those beyond your own circle. Still standing, still singing. Even later in life, George Strait continues to connect with audiences in ways few artists ever do. His performances remain powerful, not because of spectacle, but because of sincerity. Fans gather not just for nostalgia, but for the reassurance his music provides. Each appearance feels like a shared history rather than a performance. He no longer chases the road endlessly, choosing balance instead. Yet when he steps on stage, the connection remains undeniable. His presence reminds people that authenticity does not fade with time, it deepens. Decades into his career, George Strait stands as proof that staying true can build something lasting, meaningful, and deeply human. A life measured by what matters. George Strait's story is ultimately about balance between ambition and humility, success and family, expression and privacy. He lived a life guided by love rather than applause, resilience rather than noise. His journey reminds us that greatness does not require constant reinvention, only honesty and commitment. Through hardship and triumph, he remained grounded, choosing what mattered most again and again. His music continues to play, but his example lingers just as strongly. It invites reflection on our own values and priorities. In the end, George Strait shows us that a life well lived is not about avoiding pain, but about carrying it with grace, loving deeply, and staying true, no matter how loud the world becomes.